Imagine you're a soldier in one of the worst wars in the history of mankind, but you can only fight using sticks and stones, while your enemies are trying to blast you to pieces with automatic machine guns. Well, Call of Duty World at War allows you to live out this wildest of fantasies, because it has a number of game-changing cheats in it which you can unlock by finding collectibles in the campaign, and one of these is called Sticks and Stones. Instead of sticks, you're equipped with a knife, and instead of stones, you get an infinite supply of grenades to throw. But those grenades are completely incapable of blowing up, and on top of that, it is impossible to pick up any weapons you find along the way. So can you beat World at War with only sticks and stones? Since this is an in-game feature, the rules are simply that I beat the campaign with this cheat activated. Anything it allows me to do is allowed as part of the challenge. Interestingly, the cheats are not available during the solo campaign, and the only way I was able to activate Sticks and Stones was by bringing along my friend Alex and embarking upon the co-op campaign, which is mostly the same, although I think it's missing 1 or 2 missions. We started off the run by becoming prisoners of war. We were Americans, and the Japanese did some very unfriendly things to our friend over there before we were saved. We got handed a pistol, but lacking any sense of self-preservation, we decided to keep using our knives instead. Luckily, we had stolen all of the practice grenades from the boot camp, so we did have a way to take people out from a distance. As I mentioned earlier, these grenades were not capable of exploding, but they were surprisingly effective nonetheless. A single one would be enough to take out most enemies, and we could spam them indefinitely. I sniped a guy off a tower, which felt very good, before a machine gun really put us in our place for a bit until one of us managed to take it out. Sticks and Stones did let us use the mounted turrets, but despite that, we decided to try our best not to use such things if we could find a way around it. Alex cinematically stabbed a barrel of oil and sent it towards the Tojo, which is American slang for friendly Japanese men. As payback, they nearly killed him, and I soon dropped right next to my friend after getting a bayonet to the kidneys. Both of us got blown to shreds by a grenade, sliced in half by the sword of an enemy, and dragged onto a boat by Sergeant Sullivan, from which I continued snagging myself some Tojos. And as we loaded into the second mission, Alex's game crashed, which caused me to remain soft-locked in the loading screen as well. Plenty of our men were blown to bits all around us, so we decided to cool off in the clean waters of the Pacific Ocean. Our objective was storming a beach that was covered by machine gun fire, but no matter how carefully we tried to sneak onto it, as soon as we got closer to the land, we automatically started taking damage until we collapsed. So we seemingly had no choice but to use some airstrikes to clear them out. An enemy grenade killed both of us at once, which happened at least 24 more times over the next few missions. For some reason, enabling the Sticks and Stones cheat also disabled the majority of grenade indicators, but we were playing on regular difficulty, so the amount of grenades that got thrown at us was pretty reasonable. Despite the mission objective telling us to use airstrikes again, we focused on inflicting minor concussions upon our Japanese friends, and we were surprised to see that the tanks were just blown up automatically after a few moments. Sergeant Sullivan died in the most underwhelming way possible, and we moved on into the jungle. Our dummy grenades dealt more damage than almost any weapon in the game, so they saw a lot more action than our measly melee attacks. 2 machine guns were nesting in their natural habitat, as their enemy, the flamethrower guy, failed to take them out. We were expected to finish his job, and we did so using our infinite supply of toy grenades. After we killed half a dozen MG replacements, the bunker took itself out from the embarrassment. We traveled to the campaign equivalent of the legendary zombie map Nacht der Untoten, after which we gave the One Punch Man treatment to some of the enemy tanks. We cleared out some anti-air cannons, and I took a really derpy screenshot which immediately crashed both of our games. We neglected more mounted machine guns in favor of training our throwing arms before transforming into Russians, and since we were playing in co-op mode, we did not get to play the sniper mission with Reznov, but were instead thrown right into the next mission, where we faced off against our real-life German neighbors for the first time. In case you were wondering, Alex and I are Austrian. As such, we were legally forbidden from throwing any Molotovs and thereby destroying the German agriculture, but we continued to get some good dodgeball practice in instead. Whenever we were downed, we did have a gun to use, but this one too we largely tried to avoid using. Our rocks were so much more effective than the Panzerschreck at destroying enemy tanks, and our performance was so impressive that both Reznov and Chernov proceeded to become soft-locked, which stopped us from continuing our mission. Since we couldn't kill ourselves with our shitty grenades, we were determined to give Reznov the Julius Caesar experience, but he remained unimpressed. Just as we were about to reset the mission, they spontaneously decided to stop messing with us and kick the door open after all. I rode along on a tank for about 10 meters before realizing how much faster it would be to walk, then stormed a German camp with nothing but a fistful of stone. Alex's game crashed 2 more times as we transitioned back into our American skins. We were taking heavy machine gun fire in these trenches, and combined with the enemy's highly accurate usage of grenades, this mission proved to be a lot tougher than most that had come before it. A lot of very enthusiastic Tojo were also coming in to give us complimentary vasectomies, so even on regular difficulty, we died plenty of times here. We got our legs blown off a few more times, stormed some caves, and destroyed more Japanese war machines. Then we were all tanked up with no sticks or stones in sight at all. This mission was not affected by our cheat code in any way, so we played it mostly like normal. Without our almighty grenades, we died a bunch, and it didn't help that Alex had completely unbinded his primary fire in favor of putting melee attacks on his left mouse button, so he had no way to use his main attack here in the tanks. After cosplaying as angry sardines in some very destructive cans, it took me a bit to get back into the sticks and stones sensation as I accidentally tried to knife Alex and almost got both of us killed by blocking his retreat. We reached the next zombies map in Verrückt, and this gave both of us plenty of painful nostalgia. There was a guy on a mounted machine gun that took each of us out in turn, since he was somehow capable of hitting us even though we were lying right below him. But I managed to run back quickly enough to snipe him off and relieve ourselves from this cycle of pain. In classic fashion, World at War once again crashed a few times for Alex, and every time it crashed on a loading screen, it forced me to restart the game as well. It's worth pointing out that Alex also had this issue with other games, so this probably wasn't entirely World at War's fault. We were in the very heart of Germany now as we descended upon Berlin with our comrades, where we spared the lives of a few German fellas before trying to decipher the meaning of the sign above the subway, although it didn't seem very coherent to us. The subway itself was crawling with Germans, or Jerrys as the Americans called them, but we had gotten pretty good at aiming our rocks by now, so we took care of them pretty easily before being flushed out of the subway. That cliffhanger brought us right back to the Pacific, where we got stormed by enemies hiding like Pokemon in the tall grass. I narrowly saved Alex from being bonsaied while he revived me, before we had to blow up some bunkers. Our boot camp grenades unfortunately weren't enough to get the job done, so we had to use satchel charges that the mission had provided us, before Sergeant Roebuck used his well-fed American body to break open a barricade. We were approaching the end of the level when I got taken out by some Tojos, and just as Alex was making his way towards me, his game crashed again and we had to redo the entire mission. One of our buddies was suffering from mild dehydration or something, so we hauled him onto a pickup truck before starting an assault on Shuri Castle in Okinawa. In front of it, we found tons of Tojos that tried to keep us from entering, and we were not allowed to pick up the mortar shells, which you can normally throw like grenades to create some really satisfying explosions. I gave Alex a chiropractic realignment which caused him to walk in a way that I found really funny, before Sergeant Roebuck demolished yet another door to bring us to that one DLC map from Black Ops 2. Roebuck was back at it again, and I hit a pathetic 360 on one of our enemies. The sergeant's luck finally ran out as angelic choir music started playing. In the aftermath of his death, we were completely overwhelmed by the Tojo storming our position. Alex and I tried our hardest to stay alive as we were peppered with banzai attacks, and for a moment there it almost seemed like we were suddenly playing on veteran difficulty with how many grenades these guys were throwing at us. The game wanted us to use airstrikes to push them back, and while we tried to hold out as long as we could, the enemies were respawning indefinitely. So we ordered us some help from the guys up top and used the airstrikes to clear the way forward. We received the sergeant's dog tags for some reason, and with that we had finished the American part of the story. It was April 30th, 1945. All that was left for us to do was storming the Reichstag in Berlin, so as our boy Reznov dragged us from the flooded subways, Alex's game crashed 2 more times for dramatic effect. Then Alex walked towards the Reichstag with such enthusiasm that he got stuck inside one of our cannons. Taking out the Flak 88s using our dummy grenades was incredibly satisfying. But entering the Reichstag was very anticlimactic, as instead of transitioning smoothly into the cutscene, we were sent back to the co-op campaign lobby and had to select the final mission by hand. Now, we were engaged in the final push against the Germans, and I discovered that I could melee attack some of our comrades, so for a while I was focused on weakening the Russian infantry from within for no reason at all. We provided some support fire from up on a balcony, which was not as difficult as you might have thought. I stabbed a flamethrower guy and died when his gas tank blew up in my face, and whereas Roebuck could take out any door single-handedly, the Russians needed 3 men to do the same. As we took out the last few Germans standing between us and victory, Alex picked up the Soviet flag and was determined to hoist it over the building before both of us received a scripted gunshot between the eyes. Reznov made short work of the last living German, cut down the Nazi flag, and gave us the honor of finally securing the victory for Russia and the Allies. With that, we had officially beaten Call of Duty World at War with only sticks and stones. If you enjoyed this video, please consider taking a look at my Patreon or leave a like and subscribe here on YouTube. Thanks to Alex for doing this challenge with me, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.